just gonna say, at least you're not wrong about them not being interested, because clearly she likes women, not men, so you're not crazy.
You look like you like men.
Alright, say it to my face! Get off that stage over there and crack your face in. Let's go.
Have you ever been scrolling on TikTok and you came across some kind of live that was full of hostile people, whether it be a political issue or some kind of hot story from the news? And in the middle of all of it, you will have somebody come out and say that everyone needs to be respectful with each other, let each other talk, to stop talking over each other. And then that'll last for maybe about 10 seconds and it goes right back to how it was. Or maybe you've heard at least one or two people say that it seems like everyone is a lot more angry nowadays, more divided, more hostile. To where now, we have Dr. Phil hosting segments like this. Now, if this is true or not, one can only speculate. After all, it's not like the human race has always been peaceful. But I do think we can all agree that as far as one conglomerate of people, we have become more divided and hostile with each other in our recent history. But why is that? Some people will blame social media, the media in general, politics, but I have my own personal theory about it. It's called the Streisand effect. The phenomenon whereby an attempt to remove or censor a piece of information has the paradoxical consequence of publicizing it more widely. Now, those familiar with this concept are probably thinking that this has absolutely nothing to do with people being more hostile nowadays. However, I disagree. Now, I'm not a scientist, psychologist, or a physicist, but I do think that this effect plays a role in some way to this. When it comes to the human psyche, I think the same way that the suppression of information causes us to be more curious about it, I think the suppression of emotions causes us to want to express them more. Think back to the early days of the internet, how it was completely unregulated, it was a free-for-all, especially the early chat rooms. Or better yet, think about the old Modern Warfare 2 lobby. Yes, absolutely, those platforms were hostile and borderline toxic. However, there is a difference between how they were back then and how they are today. If you think back on those old chat rooms, the people that were hostile, they weren't necessarily mad at each other. They didn't hate each other, they didn't want to go to the other one's house and cause any kind of harm to them. They were more or less just blowing off steam and having a good time. Most likely when they logged off that chat room, they didn't stew over it afterwards. They just forgot about what transpired. Compare that to today's TikTok lives where the anger and hostility is waiting on standby. Social media is to blame for it, but not in the way you might think. It's not because people are expressing their opinions causing the other side to turn hostile against them. It's because they're not allowed to express the full extent of their opinion. It seems like the longer social media sticks around, the more censored it becomes, for both sides, not just one side. Although that one side might think it's just their side that's dealing with the censoring. And the more suppressed somebody is from saying something that they want to say, the more that pressure is going to build up. It's already pretty bad on TikTok, when you have to substitute one word with another word, even though the word that you're substituting isn't a bad word, but it's enough to get you banned from the platform. Think of the pressure cooker. The more the steam builds up inside that pressure cooker, the more dangerous it becomes. I mean, think about it. Every chat room now, every forum, everything on the internet has a moderator, has a fact checker, has a censoring board, has everything. Everything you say and do on the internet is completely monitored, and if it doesn't meet the terms of that platform, it's gone. I even dealt with this recently on my own website. I was trying to send out an email to my subscription list, and keep in mind, I pay for my own domain, so that's my domain for my website. However, before that email was sent, the person who provided me the domain had sent a message saying the email was sent once we verify it matches with our terms. I couldn't even post the trailer to one of my books on Amazon for some reason because it did not match with Amazon's terms. My personal theory is that this kind of censorship and this kind of monitoring is causing people to manifest this anger towards one another. It's misdirected is what it is. They're feeling suppressed, they're feeling censored, they're feeling angry, they want to say what they want to say, but because they're not allowed to say it, they're projecting it onto other people. Now, like I said, this is just a theory of mine. I'm probably way off with this, but I thought it was interesting to think about. Personally, I think we need a TV show similar to the Jerry Springer roasting, like what I posted in the beginning of the video, I think that there needs to be a TV show where everyone can come on, and the audience, the guests, everybody could just have a free-for-all with a mic and just say what they want about somebody else in that room and let out that anger. And I guarantee you world peace would be achieved in probably less than 5 years if we had a show like that on a massive scale. No violence, just trash talking. Just everyone just say what they're thinking to one another. Let it all out, and then they'll go outside and they'll probably feel 100% better. In fact, I'm willing to bet that the person that they say it to is probably going to become friends with them right after the show. They're probably going to go out to eat together. Trust me, I think that I'm onto something here. If not, then oh well, like I said, I'm not a scientist.